Hey, welcome back. This is that yogi guy, and I wanted to relate something. I've been reading this book, and I'm interested in this book. I'm interested in the author. I'm interested in what he has to say. It's a book on meditation, and he's referencing Patanjali, and he has a similar background to myself, the author. And I thought, well, this will be an interesting read, and it is, and I'm excited to continue in the book, but I fell upon a part of the book where he's talking about Patanjali and the Eightfold Path, and how, uh, with the use of an advanced technique, that he said that you could skip concentration and meditation, Dharana and Dhyana steps, that you wouldn't need those. And I was just appalled. I couldn't believe. Now, he may understand a lot of things, and he may actually understand for himself, how to meditate deeply. But this is a huge mistake, and he does not understand Patanjali's Eightfold Path, because those are processes. They are internal processes that happen as you meditate more and more deeply. So he may say that I'm just practicing a pranayama technique and then I skip straight into samadhi, but that's not actually possible, because it's like saying my the blood does not circulate from my midframe to my neck. It just hops. It just hops right over that and shows up in my neck. Well, that's ridiculous. That's not actually possible. You may experience it like that. You may experience that my blood just rushed straight up into my head right away. But there was a process of it getting there. And this is not all of his fault. It's because these words of Dharana and Dhyana have been so misused, even in India, and they've been watered down, and they've been watered down so much that this author, who I won't name, because like I said, I think he's probably a very good person, and I think he has a lot to say, uh, but they've been watered down so much that this person feels like he can just throw them out. Like, well, those aren't actually important. Because he thinks, see, here's the thing. People say, sit down in a meditative posture, and they say, well, I'm meditating. Well, no, you're not. You're not actually meditating. You're not performing meditation proper. Okay, so there's a difference between what we call meditation casually. You would just say, oh, I'm going to go meditate, right? That's casual. And then there's actually meditation proper, and that is dhyana, right? In the Eightfold Path of Patanjali. And I'll go over the 8 steps, because I know not everybody's familiar with the 8 steps as I am. So I need to share that, right? So, but just briefly. So we say, oh, I'm gonna go meditate, right? And that's just how we casually explain what it is that we're doing, right? And then we go in and we sit down and we practice a pranayama technique. So are we meditating at that point? Are we performing meditation proper? No, this is for clarification. No, we are not. We are not practicing meditation proper, because we're not in dharana or dhyana. We're not in those states. Those are states. Meditation is a state. It is a process. It's an internal process of your consciousness. It's not something that you can just do until you develop it. Once you develop it, yeah, sure, you can just jump right in there. But even once you've developed it, you're still going to have to go through the steps, because those steps are there because they are internal processes. You can't just skip them. So what are you actually doing? You're sitting there in an asana posture, right? So you're practicing asana because you're sitting in a posture and you're trying to hold that posture, trying to be still, right? Okay, so you're keeping a asana posture and you're practicing a pranayama technique. Well, great. So now you're practicing asana and pranayama. Now, are you actually practicing pranayama? Well, if you're concentrating on a technique like Hong Sa, or like the Om technique, or let's say you have Kriya Yoga. Let's say you're practicing Kriya Yoga. Well, that is a pranayama technique, and if your attention is on it, even though you may not be aware of it in the moment, you are moving energy. If your awareness is on the technique and you are practicing it, then you are practicing a pranayama technique, and you are learning how to direct your life force. Okay, people often translate pranayama as breath control. That's a mistake. It's a life force control technique. And it's not about controlling your breath. Absolutely not. We may use some control of the breath in order to get life force control, and in order to learn about life force control. But the actual control of the breath is not the pranayama technique. Okay? It has to do with prana, it's life force. Yama, control. Life force control. It's not a breath technique. Okay? There's a difference. Okay, so let's go over this. Let's walk through it, okay? Yama are the things we avoid. Niyama are the positive things in our life that we want to do, right? Asana, that's posture. When we sit down and we're able to relax in a meditative posture, that is asana. Pranayama, that is a life force control technique. When we practice a pranayama technique, we are doing that. We are accomplishing that step. And that will lead into pratyahara, which is interiorization. Now, what does interiorization look like? Interiorization is when you are inside of your spine. Until you're there, you're not. Just flat out, you're not. Now, there are wonderful things that you can experience in meditation. You can have visions. You can feel peace. You can feel joy. One time I felt so much peace, it was real. I was sitting in the Bonaventure Hotel, and I was listening to a convocation lecture, and the lecture stopped, and I just sat there, and I felt really good, and I thought, I want to meditate. And I meditated a little bit, sitting there, and this peace washed over my body and my being, and it was so palpable. I'd never, I felt peaceful before, but I'd never felt peace as if it was a thing, a presence, something that I could reach out. I could have reached out and grabbed it. That's how real it was to me in that moment. And I was still body conscious. I was not inside my spine. I was not in pratyahara. So wonderful things can happen to us when we're not in pratyahara. So don't feel like, oh my God, nothing's ever going to happen to me until I get into pratyahara. That's ridiculous. That's not true. Okay, wonderful things are going to happen. The stages of sense reversal happen before being inside the spine, and those things are just very, very blissful. Okay, so lots of wonderful things are going to happen to you before you ever get there. But let's understand that interiorization only happens when you can no longer sense your body. When you can no longer sense your breath, then you have experienced interiorization into your spine. And now what comes after that? Well, you're going to behold something inside of your spine. A light, most likely. You're going to meet a light inside of your spine because that's what's inside your spine. Energy, light, consciousness. So you're going to meet that. And when you meet that, you're going to give it all of your concentration because why wouldn't you? That's what you're there for. And you don't have any distractions, so it's going to be very easy to concentrate on it. That concentration, that one-pointed concentration, we're just going to give it a name, and we're going to give it Dharana. Now, I didn't make these up. These are from Patanjali. So I'm just telling you what he said. He wanted to differentiate concentration with body consciousness and concentration without body consciousness. When you are not aware of your body and you are concentrating on something, anything, you could just lose consciousness of. You could just go, if you were good at pratyahara, you could go into pratyahara and concentrate on a math problem, and that would be dharana. It would, because that's all it is. It's just a definition of what real concentration proper, what it looks like. Okay, we need to understand that. And that's why Patanjali differentiated, okay, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. That's why he did that. Now, what's going to happen if you concentrate one-pointedly on the light inside your spine without any body consciousness, without any distractions? What's going to happen? You're going to begin to merge with that. And that merger, that 100% concentration that is used to concentrate on something which is spiritual, like the light inside your spine. That is meditation already. Boom, it's done. Because you turned that one-pointed concentration, you turned it onto the light, and as soon as you did that, the definition of dhyana, the true of meditation proper, is fulfilled in that moment. As soon as you turn it on, that is meditation proper. Okay, it's done. It's done. Now, as soon as that happens, because there's no limiting wall between you and what you're concentrating on. There's nothing getting in the way, like your body and your five senses, right? Those things are huge hurdles, and they get in the way. But as soon as they're gone because of pratyahara, and then you turn your concentration onto the light inside your spine, you're going to merge with it. And when you merge with it, that is called a samadhi. Okay? And they're all different levels of light inside your spine, of course. And as you go on merging with those, it's a deeper and deeper samadhi experience. But you understand, you couldn't just skip those concentration and meditation steps like this author is trying to explain. He's misguided. He's listening to washed out definitions of what Dharana and Dhyana are, and he's mistaken. And it's unfortunate, because that's not the definition that Patanjali gives us. That's not the understanding that he's trying to pass on to us through generations and generations. So many years, and this vital science has still survived. And it's because of the genius of the verbal passing, the passing of poems, this verbal tradition in India. It's genius. Egypt tried to encode their information in the stone. And who understands what they're saying? Nobody. Nobody really understands the deep things that they have to say. And so it's washed out. It's gone. But India was very, very wise, very, very old. It's the mother, right? And so they kept it verbal. And look at how it survived. It's incredible. So we have this wonderful gift brought to us by Patanjali, and we shouldn't wash it out and misuse it. We should understand it and apply it. And if you're a meditating yogi, this is vital, this information, from Patanjali. The Eightfold Path is vital. So I recommend you learn the Sanskrit words and memorize them and really understand them. Asana happens when we're completely relaxed. Until we're completely relaxed inside meditation, we're not actually practicing the asana of meditation. Pranayama happens when we practice a pranayama technique. As soon as we start that, we're practicing it, right? And it really goes gun-ho when we start to slip into pratyahara. Pratyahara happens when we're inside the spine, not before. Not before. The body has to be gone. That's the way the definition works. As soon as we do that, we are able to use 100% concentration on whatever we want. That 100% concentration, that ability to concentrate without distraction of the body, which we had to get rid of the body first. That was pratyahara, right? That had to happen first. Okay, now that happened, so now we can do dharana, true concentration. Once we have that, we can apply it to the light inside the spine. That is dhyana. That's meditation. As soon as that happens, we're going to begin to merge with it. And that is samadhi. And that's why, what's the name? I think it's samyama, right? That's why Patanjali points out that the last three processes almost happen simultaneously. Yama, niyama, I'm sorry. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Those three happen simultaneously. They're just right on top of each other, right? Because it's very difficult to separate those. Right? You can separate them, and we can understand them separately. We can differentiate them with our minds and our understanding. But in actual practice, they form a union. They're just bam, 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 right? They're one on top of the other, because as soon as you concentrate, then you concentrate on the light. As soon as you concentrate on the light, you're meditating. As soon as you meditate, as soon as you concentrate on the light, you begin to merge with it. It just happens, right? Okay, I feel better. So let's learn about the Eightfold Path, and let's really study it and really understand it, because it's vital. It's vital to somebody who really wants to meditate deeply. I think, in my opinion, it's vital. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps to understand. I would like to bring this understanding to the entire world if I could. I'd like everybody to understand this. And not misuse these beautiful, deep, ancient things that have been passed down to us. So thank you very much for listening. If you understand it, you are one of the few, so congratulations. God bless.